My master was gone the day it happened. My task for the day was to clean our large villa. Our house was located on Nola Street. It was not big, but it was grand. The house had beautiful architecture, the floors were always perfectly polished, and the garden was luxurious. Oh, how I miss that house. I used to love Pompeii. I had always lived there since I was a young child, as I was born into slavery. The city was generous. They held plays, games, and many other festivities. When I woke, a cloud encompassed the sky. I did not fear, as the gods always seemed to be at my side. Tremors resonated throughout all of Pompeii that day. I wish I could have recognized what was happening. Through all, I worked dutifully, as always. If I worked hard, my master would free me, since he was a generous man. About halfway through the day, I heard a loud sound. Then the earth began to shook. Rocks started coming down shortly after. People watched in awe as rocks fell like rain. Most people ran in fear, but I continued to work. Then I heard another loud pop. A man ran through the streets and yelled, "The end is near!" I refused to listen. Then a man ran into the house. He happened to see me while he was escaping the city. He told me to leave, that everyone was fleeing the city. At once my fear overcame me. I stormed out of the house into an inferno. Showers of rocks battered the earth. Fire rose from the houses. People screamed for their dear lives. I did not know what to do or where to go. Instinct hit me and I ran towards the portus. I sprinted, heaving every breath. Smoke filled the city. My lungs could not get enough air, but I persisted through. This was life or death. I turned left on the Pompeii Street. A large wall of fire stood near the baths. I stood in front of it. I saw another person waiting in fear of the fire. I told him to go, or else he would die. The man, unrelenting, shot through the blaze. I heard screams, which at first deterred me, but I followed shortly. Flames stroked my whole body. Parts of my skin smoldered off, causing immediate pain. After running through, I fell to my knees alongside the man I just met. The pain was unbearable, but the situation was escalating and we still needed to get to the port. I told him to come with me. He responded with a short, "No!" I repeated the question and he responded, "Let me die." I got up. Excruciating pain ran through my whole body. I grabbed his arm and pulled him up. I told him that I refused to let him die. He agreed. I pulled his arm around my shoulder and we continued on. We took a right directly after the stadium baths and headed towards the Forum. When we arrived at the Forum, the situation was shocking. The shops were burning brightly, the temples were falling down, and the statues were shattered. It seemed as if the whole city had been set to ablaze. When we got through the Forum, the port was in sight, our escape from this terrible place that I loved so much. When we arrived at the port, there was one empty ship. Neither of us had ever navigated a boat, but it was our only shot at escaping. We got in, raised the sail, and prayed that the gods would save us. We did not move initially, but then we caught a huge gust of wind, pushing us straight into the depths of the Bay of Naples. We sailed swiftly, and after we were halfway through the bay, we both relaxed. While we were sitting down, letting the wind take us on a journey, an enormous cloud arose, and the volcano exploded, skyrocketing debris. We had scarcely escaped our death. I never looked back. I didn't want to see my home in such a state. I have never returned to Pompeii. I noticed the man to be wearing a fine toga in comparison to my battered tunic. He told me, "I am a wealthy businessman. You have saved my life and I shall save yours." I did not know what this meant initially, but then he said, "I am going to buy your freedom."